When federal agents searched a home in New Jersey, they found $480,000 in cash. It was stuffed inside ordinary envelopes and hidden everywhere, in the kitchen, the bedroom, inside closets. They also found multiple solid gold bars, weighing down the evidence tables, and worth an estimated $150,000. Parked right outside the house was a $60,000 Mercedes-Benz convertible, entirely paid for by someone else. This inventory of hidden wealth was found inside the home of Bob Menendez, the chairman of the United States Senate Foreign Relations Committee. One of the most powerful legislators in the American government is now serving an 11-year federal prison sentence. He was convicted of operating as a secret foreign agent while steering the country's international policy from the heart of the Senate. To understand how a sitting senator gets bought, we have to track 3 separate businessmen using 3 different currencies. The first was Wael Hana. The Egyptian government gave his company an exclusive monopoly on certifying halal meat exports, a deal worth millions. In exchange for Menendez protecting that monopoly, wealth flowed back to the senator. The second businessman, a real estate developer named Fred Dibes, dealt in direct cash. When federal investigators examined those envelopes pulled from the senator's home, they found Dibes' fingerprints physically pressed into the paper. The gold bars removed any plausible deniability. The physical stamps and serial numbers on the metal traced purchase by purchase straight back to Dibes and Hana. The third man in the network, Jose Uribe, provided the luxury car. He bought the Mercedes convertible for the senator's household. In return, Menendez used his political weight to intervene in an ongoing criminal investigation by the New Jersey Attorney General's office, an investigation targeting Uribe. The entire scheme operated on a sliding scale of corruption. The senator traded state-level justice for a car and federal foreign policy for precious metals. Using his committee chairmanship, Menendez actively operated as an unregistered agent for the Egyptian government. He worked to soften official American criticism of Egypt's human rights record and leveraged legislative influence to push through $300 million in military aid to Cairo. His actions eventually expanded to the Persian Gulf, where he was also charged with acting as an agent for the state of Qatar. Operating at this international level requires avoiding modern financial surveillance. You cannot wire hundreds of thousands of illicit dollars through the banking system without triggering reporting algorithms. Physical gold bypasses those tracking networks entirely. A lawmaker overseeing billions of dollars in complex global military agreements chose an almost comically crude method of collecting his payment. At trial, his defense team argued the stash of cash was simply a cultural habit, a product of his family's experience fleeing Cuba and a lingering distrust of banks. They claimed the gold bars were legitimate personal investments. The jury rejected those explanations entirely. They returned a guilty verdict on all 16 counts, including wire fraud, extortion, and acting as a foreign agent. His wife, Nadine Menendez, faced her own trial, which was delayed after she was diagnosed with cancer. Prosecutors proved she was not a bystander. She actively facilitated meetings, passed information, and conspired to make her husband a foreign agent. The couple married in 2020, just as the most lucrative payments began. Now they face a reality where both husband and wife will be serving simultaneous sentences in federal prison. Bob Menendez surrendered to the low-security FCI Allenwood facility in June 2025. A man who spent his career negotiating with foreign ministers and commanding global influence now earns federal prison wages of less than 50 cents an hour. Following his conviction, Menendez adopted a new public posture. Standing outside the courthouse, he aligned himself with Donald Trump, echoing the former president's rhetoric and calling his own prosecution a political witch hunt. This is a total pivot for a lifelong Democrat who voted to convict Donald Trump in 2 separate impeachment trials. He reported to prison while publicly validating the same witch hunt narrative he once opposed, leaving a potential pardon as his final remaining hope for an early release. That pardon has not arrived. His chairmanship is held by someone else. The gold is in federal custody, and the world has moved on. At 71 years old, Bob Menendez is left waiting in a minimum security cell, holding on to a pending appeal and the hope of a signature.